What is going on, guys? It is WrestleMania here, back with some more news. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at the 2nd August edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the real reason on Ric Flair's release, Alexa Bliss's offensive post has been removed, a fans hijack Raw, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. As always, we won't recap the matches, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Goldberg delivers. Now, Goldberg may have had his detractors, especially ourselves, which wonders why the WWE can pay him so much for so little, yet cry budget problems and let superstars like Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt go. Nevertheless, we're willing to give the devil his due and point out that Big Bad Bill had an outstanding promo last night to set up his SummerSlam bout with Bobby Lashley. As MVP's promo warning Goldberg he could be remembered as a champion or a casualty was the usual gold you'd expect from Lashley's manager. The WWE built up the heat as well with this segment, whether it was the promo or having Lashley get in the face of Goldberg's son. He's really grown up, hasn't he? This was a classic heel move, as was MVP trash-talking Goldberg Jr. The only thing that would have been better was having Lashley put Goldberg's son in the Hurt Lock. Unfortunately, the fans hijacking the show made it difficult for viewers to appreciate the promo as much as they should have. Unfortunately, the promo is likely to be the only good part of this program. It's doubtful anyone is expecting much from the Lashley-Goldberg match, as Goldberg's idea of a lengthy match was his 2020 Super Showdown bout against The Fiend that went an epic 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Number 2, Clash of Titans. It's been said that necessity is the mother of invention, and while the WWE didn't create anything new with the rematch between NXT champion Karrion Kross and Keith Lee, it was an excellent match that showed the WWE actually making the most of an unexpected absence. This is the absence of Jeff Hardy, who tested positive for COVID. Kross and Lee had another good match, and incredibly, they gave Lee a win after 2 straight weeks of losing since his return 3 weeks ago. Lee fans shouldn't see this as a sign of the WWE suddenly pushing him, as rumor has it that the WWE had plans on having Kross run up a number of losses on Raw as part of a storyline reuniting him with Scarlett, leading to Kross regaining his killer instinct. And thirdly, Alexa Bliss's tribute to The Fiend. Now, The Fiend is gone from the WWE, but that didn't stop Alexa Bliss from sending a subtle shout out to her friend Bray Wyatt. In case you missed it, Bliss did The Fiend's hand-to-face gesture during her appearance on the Titantron, a subtle sign that while Bray Wyatt is gone from the WWE, he'll always be remembered by his friend Alexa Bliss. That was good. What about the bad? As number 1, not so subtly sweetening. The WWE was anything but subtle in piping in crowd noise during Drew McIntyre's entrance, with fans hearing Michael Cole say 16-time world champion. While sweetening the crowd reaction is nothing new, it was obvious when Drew made his way down to the ring. However, Sean Ross Sapp commented on the situation during his YouTube program, suggesting it was a production error. So they laid some audio over certain spots tonight. We're gonna go ahead and talk about that. It happened during Drew McIntyre's entrance. I was told by someone in WWE that it was kind of a production error, so it wasn't necessarily them trying to lay audio over it. At least that's the line I was given. It was like a commercial or something like that. Now, hopefully this is true and the WWE isn't going overboard to try and sweeten the fans' reaction. But do you guys believe this? Let us know in the comments down below. Number 2, where's Asuka? Add Asuka to the growing list of wrestlers missing in action on Raw. Wrestling's Empress of Tomorrow has been sitting on the sidelines for no apparent reason other than the WWE's indifference to using one of its best and most charismatic female performers. Now, although the Raw Women's division isn't as bad as SmackDown's, Asuka's absence reflects how little effort the WWE invests in its women's division. Asuka is far too talented a performer to be sitting on the sidelines, and the WWE should consider moving her to SmackDown if it has nothing planned for her right now on the Red brand. Number 3, enough is enough. And why did the WWE book Raw Women's Champion Nikki Ash against Charlotte again, especially when the two are set to wrestle at SummerSlam? While it's good to have wrestlers interacting before a big pay-per-view match, having them wrestle ad nauseum before the big bout makes the pay-per-view an awful and anticlimactic event. Add in the WWE's failure to involve Rhea Ripley, who is actually a part of the SummerSlam match, and you have a Raw Women's Championship match that few fans are going to care about. Number 4, we're just not feeling it. As some fans have it, while others just simply don't. For whatever reason, the current Alexa Bliss vs Doudrop and Eva Marie program has been a dud. The WWE's booking of Alexa Bliss has been problematic since she split with The Fiend, and she has yet to find a strong opponent who works well in the semi-spooky world she's currently inhabiting. While things could turn around with this feud, it's off to a rocky start and it's done nothing for Doudrop, a performer with an eclectic look and style who might succeed in a different program. There was nothing downright ugly about last night's Raw, which is a refreshing change of pace after several weeks of ugly segments. While last night's show didn't set the wrestling world on fire, it had its moments, including the build-up for Goldberg vs Lashley and the always entertaining work of The Miz, Morrison and Riddle. Nonetheless, the WWE needs to get Raw off life support as Monday Night Football will be here before long, which means the Red Brand will have to step up unless it wants its ratings to tank. But that was the good, the bad and the downright ugly of Raw. Let us know what you thought of Raw in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now, our first bit of news looks at the fans hijacking Raw. The WWE Universe is back as they've finally returned to live events with fans in the seats, and while the WWE is no doubt happy to sell tickets and pump up their shows with fans, there's no escaping what happens when the fans decide to hijack a show. Last night's Raw saw the fans chanting CM Punk before Raw went live, as well as during the start of the Drew McIntyre vs Veer match, Miz TV, the Doudrop vs Tamina match, and the Charlotte vs Nikki main event. The Punk chants were no surprise since Raw took place in Punk's hometown of Chicago. However, there were also "We Want Wyatt" chants during the opening of Raw and when Alexa Bliss appeared on the Titantron. The fans chanted Becky during Charlotte's promo, which saw Flair responding by claiming she's the one who sold out Chicago's All-State Arena and adding, "Becky's not here, I'm here." Next up, the real reason for Ric Flair's release. Did Ric Flair ask for his release? Well, that's the story going around when WWE announced Flair had been released, but now there's a wild rumor regarding Ric Flair's recent release from the WWE. Dave Meltzer is now reporting that Flair was sent packing by Vince McMahon and it had nothing to do with Flair requesting his release. During the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer commented he had sent a message, I think it was a text message, but he had sent a message to Vince McMahon, and it was basically complaining about Ashley's, Charlotte's booking, her situation, and now he's gone. I've seen it, and it was his decision to leave, and now I know from people who know are closer to the situation than I am that say that it was Vince's decision. If Meltzer's source is correct, this completely changes the dynamics of Flair's exit as Vince sent him packing rather than the 16-time world champion asking for his release. It's unknown if Slick Rick has a non-compete clause in effect, but it seems inevitable he'll show up in AEW in the near future. As long as Flair doesn't decide to wrestle, that's fine with us, as Flair's mic skills are still solid and could be a great addition to AEW in terms of sharing his experience with wrestlers and serving as a huge personality. Next up, Randy Orton AWOL? Where the hell is Randy Orton? That's the question more fans are asking as the Legend Killer failed to appear on the 2nd August Raw despite being advertised for the show. PW Insider noted Orton wasn't seen backstage either, so what's going on? Orton was last seen on the 15th June Raw, which naturally has led to speculation why he's been off television, especially since he's been involved in a program with his new partner Riddle. As Wrestling News' Paul Davis noted, last week when Matt Riddle was being attacked by AJ Styles and Omos, there was a subtle tease that someone could run out to save him, and presumably that person would be Orton. While Orton may be taking some time off to deal with nagging injuries or simply enjoying some R&R, there's a recent wave of lengthy and unexplained absences, such as those involving The Fiend and Keith Lee, that have fans wondering what is going on behind the scenes. Next up, Nia Jax suffers a bad cut. It looks like the karma bus hit Nia Jax this week on Raw as a wrestler with a reputation for sloppy work that has reportedly injured more than one opponent suffered a bad cut during a match with Rhea Ripley. Apparently Jax was busted open the hard way and had a cut under her eye. As the match progressed, the blood flowed and could be seen on Jax's cheek. To her credit, Nia continued the match as well as a post-match segment that seems to be setting up for a split between her and tag team partner Shayna Baszler. We wish her a fast recovery. And finally, Instagram deletes Alexa Bliss's offensive post. Last but not least, it looks like a recent Instagram post by Alexa Bliss was too hot to handle as the social media site removed it. Bliss's love for all things Disney occasionally takes shape in her tattoo art, posted a picture of one of her new Disney tattoos only to find it was taken down. Bliss informed the fans via Instagram that apparently my Disney tattoo was offensive, so IG took it down. Okay Instagram, have you seen the tattoo? Is it too offensive? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.